Oh, how we've come full circle. So, you guys remember how my first pair of high-end headphones were also, appreciate the beard and the hair, it's pretty bad. My first pair of high-end headphones were the HD800, the original. This was the first pair, the ones I saw in 2011, 2012 when they were released, and that I waited about 6-7 years before I can finally afford them on my own. Those were the first pair I ever bought. Sold them actually pretty fast because I want to kind of venture out and see other headphones because people were like, the LCD 2s are awesome. They're actually better. I bought those and turns out they were worse. Then I went to the Stacks, the 404s. I don't even remember by now. It's been like a few years. They were okay, but they weren't to the level of the HD800s. Then I sold those. I went to other headphones like Beats Pros again. Then I went to the Stack 009s. Then I sold them. And I bought the HD800s again. And then I sold them again. And then I went to cheaper headphones. So pretty much, it's been a few years. So, third time's the charm. This is the third pair I have owned. They just came in last week. And actually, they're pretty cool because the serial number is 544. So these are the OG. These are one of the first batch HD800s. And they still look pretty amazing. So, why did I buy these? After many years, after, going through many headphones, from the very best, like the 009s, which right next to the Abyss 1266, they're considered the best ones, all the way to the worst, like the CB ones from Amazon, which are like 50 bucks. Beats Pros, $300. I have realized that these are my, probably, even though they're not the best, I'm going to say that right now, these are not the best headphones, even though they're from Sennheiser. They're still my favorite in terms of design, in terms of sound quality, and in terms of sound staging, and many other things actually. So I'm gonna get a few points in this video just to tell you why I bought them again. So reason number one, obviously I bought these because I have some sort of nostalgia for them. I saw these come out of the Sennheiser the press release maybe back in 2010, 2011. I don't even remember the exact date. It's been so long. I remember when they came out, a couple people made videos about them on YouTube. And I was actually like, whoa, $1,500 for a headphone? That's crazy. My headphones cost $10. My $20, like 15. Who you'd have to be rich to spend that kind of money on these headphones, And then I saw the design. I was like, whoa, these look awesome. They look futuristic. These must be the best thing ever. I need to hear them. But fast forward, it took me a few years to actually have money to buy them because I couldn't just tell my mom and dad, hey, can you buy me $1,500 headphones? Like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But then the more I read about them, the more I got confused because then I started seeing that these aren't the best headphones, that these other ones are the best headphones, and these, and then that. So, I mean, long story short, I ended up just getting them just because I needed to try them. I was like, these are the first ones I've ever heard, and I need to see if that's true. And I mean, luckily, they were actually pretty good. So that was the first point. I bought them because I saw them years ago. I needed to try them, and I'm glad I did because, I have them again for the third time. All right, another point I actually bought them was for the sound. Now, the sound is very, very subjective. And, audiophiles will try to tell you that you need to pair them to a great amp. You need to make sure the cable's right. You need to make sure that the music needs to be well recorded, the best quality, because these headphones don't like bad music. They don't like bad files. They don't like MP3s. Now, coming from a random dude that obviously doesn't know what he's talking about based on my YouTube comments and my dislikes on like all my headphone videos, I disagree with most of that, honestly, because I've gone through the hundreds and thousands of dollars of amps, DACs, cables, and I have some of them on my YouTube channel, so I'm not lying, with this headphone. So I've gone through tube amps, solid state amps. I've gone through little $50 amps to the $2,500 WA22. I've gone through a different cable that was like $400 other than the stock cable. So my point is that these headphones sound very similar with any of that. Like I don't really believe the whole different tubes, different amps, different cables, DACs. They all sound the same, honestly. I listened to the Eagles Hotel California, which is probably the staple for these headphones. I've listened to it on so many different things, and honestly, it sounds all the same. I don't listen to a tube amp and I'm like, oh yeah, this is so smooth. This is, the treble peak is flattened out, you know? Oh, this cable sounds so smooth, sounds so soft. No, it just sounds like Hotel California on a high-end headphone. Now, the only thing I can say is that I buy the amps because they look cool, because they look awesome, because they're expensive, so it's like a status symbol. But I don't buy them with the intention of like, oh, these are gonna sound way better than the $100 amp from Amazon. Like, no. That's why I made that video years ago where it's like, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on an amp. You can get just as good of sound on something cheaper. So, yeah, I don't believe any of that. That's why, even though I'm rambling into something else, the point was that I love the sound. The sound's not for everybody. There's a treble peak that is very, very harsh on certain sounds. Actually, really harsh. So I had to get these modified with that Soup SDR mod, the little donut you put in the middle, which is pretty much what the HD800S has. So these are technically HD800S because you put the little mod, it makes the treble peak go down, makes them more bearable, and then everything's fixed, honestly. After putting that mod, you can listen to almost any song without being harsh. That was one of the few things that I noticed when I first bought them. I kind of wanted to not look at it, but then the more I listened to music, the more I figured, like, why are these headphones supposed to be the best and they sound so harsh on the high end? I like how a lot of people don't even say they don't like to criticize them. They're like, they're very sibilant in some songs. Like, no, they're just harsh on the treble because, I don't know, they didn't probably design them as good as they could, even though they probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in R&D and for these headphones. Now, I know you're thinking, the design's not for everybody. Just like the Abyss, just like the Stax. You can't please everybody. But obviously, if you're an audiophile, you don't care. I'm not considered an audiophile, because if I did, I'd be trying to sell you on some, snake oil cables that are $2,000. I'm telling you the truth right now. I mean, these are pretty cool. They look really futuristic. Like, that's something that you can't take away from these ever. Look at the Stax. The Stax 009s, they look pretty good. Stax 404s, they look like cheese graters on your head. Even the Sennheiser HD800s, they look a little bit outdated. These look super, super refined. They look so futuristic. The silver, they look very like 2050, you know what I'm saying? Even the top of the headband's aluminum plate right here. It looks stainless steel. It looks so cool. So that's just one of the reasons. I mean, you put it on your desk to sit and it looks awesome. It looks like a modern headphone. That's one of the best things that they did. The design is very out there. It's very nice. I think it ages well. This headphone's already 10 years old and it doesn't look anything from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. It looks still from the future. Like, you can have it in 100 years and it's still gonna look modern. So that's one of the things that just drew me to these headphones. Whereas you look at other headphones, let's say the Mizzy Empyreans, they look so different. The Abyss 1266 obviously are on their own category. They don't look anything like you would want to wear in public. These look like something you'd want to wear in public. Subjectively, obviously, in the comments I'll probably have people saying these look disgusting, but listen, to me they're probably the best looking headphones, right next to the Abyss, the Dianas. The Dianas look really cool. They look more retro futurist. You know, they look like what the 80s people thought that the future was going to look like. Well, these look like what the 2000s people think the 2100s are going to look like, because I mean, you just look at them, they're just awesome. So that was one of the other points of why I bought them. Now, the last point that I'm just going to make up right now on the spot is I just bought them because I still think that they hold a candle to a lot of headphones to today. Now, what I'm talking about is the 009S, the Abyss 1266 Phi TC, and Odyssey LCD4. Now, these headphones are obviously much older than all those. Those headphones just came out, like the 1266 came out. The original 1266 came out in 2013, but the Phi TC just came out this last year. LCD4s are not even that old, maybe 2 years old. The 009S just came out last year. They're all refined versions. And obviously the A20s are the latest model version of these, but they're closed back, so you can't really compare all those open back headphones to the closed back H20s. So I still think these hold a candle to their own. And when you pair them up with a decent amp and a decent DAC, then you're gonna get a really good sound, and you're gonna probably get the best sound out of these that you can get. I've heard a few of those other headphones that I just mentioned, and they do sound a little bit better in terms of resolution, but these will always beat them in terms of soundstage, because, I mean, first of all, the driver is huge. Second of all, the driver is like deep in there. So when you put them on your head, the driver is right here, your ear is all the way over here, so you get a lot more space, right? Whereas in the Dianas, they're kind of more flat against your head, so there's no space. You don't get that much sound staging. Same with the stacks. The stacks are a little bit more apart, but still you don't get that much sound stage. Whereas in the HD800s, you get a lot more sound stage. And it does make a difference. Like, obviously, take it from a guy that's listened to a lot of these headphones. It makes a difference, and it sounds really good. Obviously, they're not as resolving as these other high-end electrostatic or planars. These are dynamic, but they do a great job, especially when they're paired well with an amp and a DAC. If you plug these into your phone, probably not gonna sound that great. Okay, so what is my last, do I have an amp slash DAC that I'm actually gonna buy to pair these with? And yes, I'm actually getting the DAC next week. Third time's a charm. I'm getting the Wood Audio WDS, and I'm gonna save why I bought that amp again for another video, which, I mean, spoiler alert, it's because DACs all kind of do the same thing, honestly. I mean, come on. The amp that I want to buy is probably the WA5, not the WA22. I think WA5 does a little bit better job in terms of sound and looking cooler. So there's another dislike for you guys. And there's one more headphone I want to buy, which is the Abyss 1266 Phi TC. But those are like $5,000. Man, it's gonna take a while for me to buy those. So I'm thinking of buying the original 1266 used, and then upgrading them, because I think it costs $1,500 to upgrade the drivers, which would then make it a TC, Phi TC. So, but that depends if I can find some. Right now, I haven't found any on the used market. Or I can buy some Diana Phis. The only problem with the Diana Phis are that they don't sound, even though they sound more resolving than the HD800s, the soundstage isn't as good. And apparently, it takes a while for them to get comfortable on your head, but that's gonna be subjective. I'm gonna have to do that myself, see if that's actually true, and just sell them if they don't. Great. So I'm thinking for my end game, because at first I wanted the Orpheus, but then I realized the Orpheus is actually kind of overpriced when you start looking at it. And from what I've read, the Orpheus isn't that far apart from the Abyss. And some people actually, like the Steve Guttenberg, which is an audiophiliac, you know, he's an audiophile. He actually prefers the Abyss to the Orpheus. So it's gonna be kind of tough. I know I wanted the Abyss, and I want these as my end game. The amp's gonna be the W5. It has to be the WA5, just because I know the Abyss, you need some power. For the HD800s, you also need power. So the WA5 is gonna do a great job. Yeah, so it's gonna be the Dual Audio WDS, just because I need a good looking DAC. The WA5, because that amp is probably 12 years old. It's already on the second revision, and it still holds true to its tone, whatever that means. And the Abyss 1266, which my wife doesn't know I'm gonna buy, so she's gonna kill me when I do that. And then the HD800s, which I already have. The cable is gonna be swapped out. I don't like this cable. Stock cable is really ugly. It's too long. Probably gonna get a cooler, balanced, or not even balanced, like XLR ended clear silver peacock cable. Just that's a little shorter. Looks a lot better. The Abyss, that's in its own category. It's gonna be down the future. So yeah, 17 minutes. I'm probably gonna shorten this video, hopefully to 11 minutes, just because I don't think anybody's gonna want to watch me ramble on. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like the channel. Dislike the channel. Like it, dislike, comment, do whatever. Just interact with it. Tell me what I need to improve on. Tell me what I need to improve. Well, don't tell me what I need to improve with the camera quality, because I'm recording on my phone. One day I'll buy a camera when I feel like it's worth it. I can obviously buy a camera right now, but I don't feel like I need to. It's not worth it with me, with buying a camera and then maybe not using it, or I don't know. I just have this. Yeah, anyways, like the video, dislike the video, whatever. Bye.